Greetings and welcome to the Astronomy Picture of the Day podcast. Today's picture for January 31st of 2025 is titled The Variable Nebula NGC 2261. So what do we see here? Well, here we see what is known as a reflection nebula. And that is a cloud of dust around a star. And that star, then its light then scatters from the dust and causes the nebula to glow. Now, often when we see dust in space, it looks dark. It blocks out the light from behind it. However, when it's close to a star, it can actually be illuminated and scatter that light around. And that's what we see here. Now, this is also known as Hubble's variable nebula. Now, that means that the nebula also changes in brightness. And that is a very interesting thing because nebulae usually stay about the same. They don't really change in brightness. So there has to be some sort of reason as to why this nebula seems to change in brightness over time. Now you could think of a couple of things as to whether it was a change in the brightness of the star, or in this case, what astronomers think it is that there are knots of dust, dense particles of dust, and large clumps that then cast shadows on the dust clouds across the nebula. And those would cause the nebula to change in brightness. Just as you see here on Earth, when a shadow crosses the ground, the sky gets a little bit darker and then it brightens again after. Well, we could be having shadows being cast by large clumps of dust that are moving around this nebula. And as they pass close to the star there down at the bottom, then they could block out some of its light and change how much of its light is getting to the various parts of the nebula. And that would be able to account for the variability that we see. Now, the variability occurs over relatively short periods, things just a few weeks in length. So it's not a very long time scale, not something that takes years or decades or centuries, but just a matter of a few weeks that it can change significantly in brightness. So that is the current explanation that we have, is trying to look at how those dust knots could possibly be causing the nebula to change its brightness and its appearance very noticeably over such a short time frame. So that's what those shadows could be doing, shadows of material passing close to that star down at the tip of the nebula and causing the overall nebula appearance to change over time. So that was our picture of the day for January 31st of 2025. It was titled The Variable Nebula NGC 2261. We'll be back again tomorrow for the next picture. So until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.